Before we start, if this moves you, please subscribe and leave a like. Every bit helps. Support links in the comments. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
You didn't leave when leaving would have been so easy. And I went dark for months and barely said a word. You made the coffee, kept the lights on, kept believing in a version of me I could barely see myself. And I know I don't say it enough, but every morning that you're still beside me feels like something I don't deserve. Still here, still here, when the ground was soft and the sky was uncertain. Still here, still here. You were the reason I came back to certain. I don't need a miracle or a long explanation, just you still here. The years have worn some edges into something softer. I've learned to hold things loosely, learned to let things go. And you were patient through the stubborn and the anger. Now look at what survived all that we didn't know. There's a kind of love that doesn't make the movies. It's quieter than that, it's deeper than the words, but it shows up every morning. Still here, still here, when the ground was soft and the sky was uncertain. Still here, still here. You were the reason I came back to certain. I don't need a miracle or a long explanation, just you still here. I've seen people walk away from harder things than this. I've seen good love dissolve like it was never real. But you chose this, and you chose me, and you chose us again. And I'll spend the rest of this life making sure you know. Still here, still here. Every scar between us holds the story of our staying. Still here, still here. We're not perfect, but we're something I believe in. And I'll take imperfect love over an empty room any day. You're still here. Of all the things that came and went, you're the only one I never wanted back, because you never left.
saw my hands in the kitchen light this morning by the sink. The way they held the coffee cup, I stopped and had to think. His knuckles in these river lines, this skin that's starting to show. I've seen these hands before somewhere, a long, long time ago. She kneaded bread on Sunday mornings, humming to herself. I never thought I'd be her, now I'm nothing else. Hands like my mother's, telling every year I've lived, every meal I've made, every child I've held, everything I've given. Hands like my mother's, and I used to think that scared me. Now I trace each line like a map she left to guide me. She never called herself a hero, never asked to be seen, just showed up every single day for everyone between. I watched her hands and never thought to say how much they meant. Now mine are doing all the things that hers were heaven sent. There's a strength in what these hands have carried without praise, a quiet kind of legacy that lasts beyond our days. Hands like my mother's, telling every year I've lived, every meal I've made, every child I've held, everything I've given. Hands like my mother's, and I used to think that scared me. Now I trace each line like a map she left to guide me. She's been gone 11 years, and still I reach to call her name when something breaks or blooms, or when the grandkids misbehave. And every time I look down at these hands that look like hers, I feel her in the room again, like love that never leaves. Hands like my mother's, telling every year I've lived, every meal I've made, every child I've held, everything I've given. Hands like my mother's, and I'm not scared anymore. These hands are how she stays, and how I carry her forward. Same hands, different woman, same love. Found each other in a college dorm in 1983. He knocked on my door to borrow sugar and never really left. We've lived in different cities, raised our kids on different coasts, but every Friday morning there's a text that says I'm here. We've held each other through the losses that don't have a name, the kind that don't make sense to anyone. who wasn't there the same. 40 years of Fridays, 40 years of you picking up the phone, 40 years of knowing that I never really do this alone. 40 years of Fridays, coffee cups and honest talk, the one who knows the whole damn story, every stumble, every walk. 40 years of Fridays, and I'd give 40 more. You sat with me the night my marriage fell apart at the seam. You didn't try to fix it, didn't tell me what to feel. You just poured the wine and let me talk until the talking stopped, and in the morning made me eggs and said, now let's get real. There's a love that doesn't ask for anything but showing up, and you have shown up every single time without a second thought. 40 years of Fridays, 40 years of you picking up the phone, 40 years of knowing that I never really do this alone. 40 years of Fridays, coffee cups and honest talk, the one who knows the whole damn story, every stumble, every walk. 40 years of Fridays, and I'd give 40 more. When they talk about the loves that shape a life, they always mean the romantic kind, the ones that burn and break. But you're the constant, you're the thread that holds the whole thing straight. The Friday I would cancel, everything else to keep. 40 years of Fridays, 40 years of you picking up the phone, 40 years of knowing that I never really do this alone. 40 years of Fridays, coffee cups and honest talk, the one who knows the whole damn story, every stumble, every walk. 40 years of Fridays, God, I hope we get 40 more. Same time next Friday, always. Always. The ceiling fan is turning and the tea is getting cold. The dog is in the shade patch that he's claimed since he was old. There's a cardinal in the oak tree, and he's got nothing to say, and neither do I. And that's the whole point of today. I used to feel the silence like it was something to be fixed. Now I know the silence is the gift. This is my porch song, no verses about heartbreak, no chorus about pain, just the sound of Sunday settling like dust after the rain. This is my porch song, a hymn to doing nothing well. to let myself feel. My neighbor waves from across the street and I wave back slow. We don't need words, we've known each other 20 years or so. The afternoon is golden and it's going nowhere fast. And for once in my life, I'm glad that nothing's gonna last. There's a luxury in stillness that the busy never find. The porch has been here waiting, I just finally showed up on time. This is my porch song, no verses about heartbreak, no chorus about pain. Just the sound of Sunday settling like dust after the rain. This is my porch song, a hymn to doing nothing and doing nothing well. The kind of peace that took a lifetime just to let myself feel. I don't need to go anywhere, I don't need to be anything more than a woman on a porch in the late afternoon, with nowhere to be and nothing to prove, and everything I love within reach of this view. This is my porch song, no verses about heartbreak, no chorus about pain. Just the sound of Sunday settling like dust after the rain. Oh, this is my porch song, and I mean every word. The most important song I've ever written is the one nobody heard. Still here, still rocking, nowhere else to be.
You forgot you kept. I answered the daughter, then wife, then mother. Wore every name like it belonged to another. Kept mine in a drawer like a thing out of season. Forgot I had reasons that were only my reasons. And the mirror kept asking a question I've been avoiding, a face I half recognized, a life I'd been borrowing. I wanna hear my own name in my own voice, spoken without permission, spoken by choice. I've been living in the margins of someone else's story. It's time I walk back into my own. I know every landmark on everybody's road, carried everybody's map, everybody's load. But somewhere between the giving and the guiding, I left myself standing at a crossroads undecided. I'm not erasing all the love that shaped me. I'm just reclaiming what was always waiting. I want to hear my own name in my own voice, spoken without permission, spoken by choice. I've been living in the margins of someone else's story. It's time I walk back into my own. There's a woman, there's a man in the photograph from years ago. Eyes wide open, full of something I let go. I've been chasing that look in the faces all around me, when all this time that look was here inside me. I finally hear my own name in my own voice, not an apology, a choice. I've been living in the margins long enough now. I'm walking back into my own. Funny how your name sounds different when you mean it. Doesn't anymore. One plate on the table, one glass of red wine, one candle I lit just because the light looked fine. No one to consult about the music or the hour. No performance, no pretending, just me and the power. And I waited for the loneliness to walk through the door, but it stood outside a moment, and then came no more. The table I set for one is the most honest thing I own. Not a consolation, not a wound, just coming home. I used to need an audience to make a moment real. Now the quiet is the feeling I was always meant to feel. I used to fill the silence with whatever noise was near. A television, a telephone, a reason to appear. Busy enough to miss myself, crowded enough to hide from the person who'd been knocking patient from inside. But the knocking got too gentle to keep ignoring, and I opened up the door one unremarkable morning. The table I set for one is the most honest thing I own. Not a consolation, not a wound, just coming home. I used to need an audience to make a moment real. Now the quiet is the feeling
It's knowing who you are before the next chapter unfurls. I've sat at crowded tables, feeling utterly alone. Now one chair and one candle feel more full than I have known. The table I set for one is the most honest thing I've found. Not an ending, not a settling, just solid ground. I used to think that solitude was something to outrun. Now I light the candle slowly and I savor some of the best company I've ever had has been my own. I used to move through every room like something unresolved, like a question without patience, like a knot that won't be solved. Always reaching for the next thing, always braced for what comes after, filling every silence with the noise I mistook for laughter. But the river doesn't hurry, and it still finds the sea. And somewhere in that thought, I started finding me. Still water, still here, still whole, not waiting anymore, not playing a role. I used to think that peace was just the absence of the storm. Now I know it's something you grow into, like a worn and favorite coat. I made my peace with roads I took and roads I didn't take, with the choices that I'd change and the ones I wouldn't make. There's a kind of freedom living on the other side of regret, when you've held it long enough to know it hasn't beaten you yet. And the things I can't undo have made me who I'm standing as, and I'm standing pretty easy on that ground. Still water, still here, still whole, not waiting anymore, not playing a role. I used to think that peace was just the absence of the storm. Now I know it's something you grow into, like a worn and favorite coat. It didn't come from fixing everything that once was broken. It came from leaving certain battles beautifully unspoken, from learning that surrender isn't losing, it's arriving at the shore you didn't know you'd been working toward your whole life. Still water, still here, still mine. Every year has made the edges of this life more fine. I used to think that stillness was a thing I had to earn. Now I wear it like the light I finally stopped trying to return. The deepest water is the water that has learned to rest.
I was looking at you this morning and something stopped me. The way the light came in and found you where you stood. All the years written into you like rings inside a tree trunk. And I thought, God, I wouldn't change a single thing I'm seeing. They sell us something different from the start, a forever version of the way we looked at 22. But what I see in you is better. What you look like now is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen up close. What you look like now is someone who has lived and loved and bore it. Every silver strand, every quiet line is every year I got to keep you here with me. What you look like now is mine. You laughed the other day and I could see the young one in you, right there underneath the face that time has touched. And both of them are you, and both of them I love. But this one right here is the one who knows me best. The world is always looking somewhere else, but I'm right here and I see exactly what I've got. And it's not less, it's more. What you look like now is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen up close. What you look like now is someone who has lived and loved and bore it. Every silver strand, every quiet line is every year I got to keep you here with me. What you look like now is mine. We live in a world that doesn't wanna age, chasing back whatever it imagines it is lost. But I've been watching you walk into this season, and darling, you are everything that's worth the cost. This is not a consolation prize. This is the main event. What you look like now is what I hope I get to keep looking at forever. What you look like now takes my breath the same as it did. Then I didn't think it was possible to love you more. here I am, completely wrong again. What you look like now? May I spend the rest of my mornings getting stopped by you in the light. Put an old record on and I forgot for a second how old I was. Suddenly we're younger in the way that only music lets you be. You held your spatula like a microphone, and I started laughing. And somewhere between the sauce and the second chorus, we were dancing, and I thought, when did we stop doing this? All those years of serious and scheduled, something just let go tonight. Dancing in the kitchen again, no occasion, no reason, no audience. Dancing in the kitchen again, like we did before the world got in. The dinner's getting cold, and I don't care at all, because we're dancing in the kitchen again. It doesn't take a lot to find the life inside the ordinary. A particular song in your particular face, and suddenly the years just rearrange themselves around the joy. And you remember, this is what the whole long road was for. And I want more of this, not the big expensive version of our happiness, but this right here, in socks on hardwood. Dancing in the kitchen again, no occasion, no reason, no audience. Dancing in the kitchen again, like we did before the world got in. The dinner's getting cold, and I don't care at all, because we're dancing in the kitchen again. This is the revolution I was looking for, not in some faraway place or some imagined time. It was always here between the sink and the stove, between this person and this song and this particular night. We don't need more than this to be completely alive. Dancing in the kitchen again, we're gonna do this every Tuesday, every Friday. Dancing in the kitchen again, proof that ordinary love can still surprise you. Let the world have its noise, we've got this song and enough room to move. We're dancing in the kitchen again. Later we'll tell our kids that on a random Wednesday night we found what we were looking for. I used to fill every silence, I didn't trust what lived inside it. Kept the radio on kept the calendar full, kept running past the things I was afraid to feel. It took me years to understand that what I was avoiding was exactly what I was looking for. And then I found it, not in any grand arrival, just here, in this house, in this life, with you. The quiet that is full of something. This is where the quiet lives, not in the empty but in the earth. This is where the quiet lives, in the middle of a love that the years have confirmed out. Been looking for this peace in all the louder places, but it lives right here, in the quiet with you. There's a sound this house makes after 10 at night, when everything settles into itself. You're breathing the low voice of the trees outside, the sense that everything that matters is accounted for. I never thought I'd be someone who loves the dark, but I am, because this dark has you in it. And nothing is missing from this moment, not a single thing needs to be added or improved. This is the life I was becoming all along. This is where the quiet lives, not in the empty but in the urn. This is where the quiet lives, in the middle of a love that the years have confirmed. I've been looking for this peace in all the louder places, but it lives right here, in the quiet with you. They said that getting older was the thing to fear, and I was afraid, I'll give them that. But what they didn't mention was the quiet that comes with it, the deep relief of knowing who you are, of being known completely by at least one other person, and resting in that knowing without apology. This is where the quiet lives, and I am finally fluent in its language. This is where the quiet lives, and I would not trade a single decibel for this. Let the world be loud, we'll be right here, where the quiet lives, together. Everything I was rushing toward was this, exactly this right here.